Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on the Movies. Today we are doing episode 3 of the Dark Winds show, season 4. And the title of the episode is, which I don't really care for it, I think it's too long, That Which Has Been Torn Apart. Which...
Why didn't they just call it Torn Apart?
I don't know.
That'd be a lot easier. Safi.
I don't know. So anyway, I can't wait to see what Marco thinks about this episode, but there was a couple of bizarre things.
Which part?
There was a couple of bizarre things.
Yeah, Safi told me
I don't know
earlier.
what to say.
You know, it's funny because earlier, Safi from Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies, she told me, I don't know what you're going to think about it, Marco. Maybe. She was very mealy-mouthed,
Well, he
like
told
usual.
me I can't tell him anything because I don't want to spoil it.
Well,
And
she's
it would
like,
be easy to spoil because it's so bizarre.
I don't know what you'll think about it, Marco. And it's like, okay, well... Then later on, she told me that I don't like anything, and I asked her a very simple question. See, I had to be a detective like Chee in this episode. I asked Safi a question. I said, "Hey Safi, what was the rating that I gave the last episode of Dark Winds?" And she said, "I don't know, a C or a D." And I said, "No, Safi, I gave it a B." And she didn't have any response. So I think that we have safely deduced that Safi has made unfair and biased statements about me. She's come up with these conclusions about me, like she's treating me like I'm Jeffrey Epstein or something.
Oh, for God's sakes, don't bring that person up.
Because I give bad movies a bad review. So anyways... This episode was actually pretty good.
Oh my God. I think I'm going to pass out.
But there were some things that took it
bizarre.
down from being very good into being one of the worst episodes I've ever seen. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But there were some weird things in it. And there were there's some things about it where I don't know why they're doing what they're doing.
That's right. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That's why it was bizarre to me.
There's some weird things. I mean, I would call the episode Weird Things. Because the whole episode was weird. It was kind of good. I liked the music. I thought they had good music in it. But other than that...
Well, I don't know if he's talking about the final song.
No.
I grew up with that song. It's from the 70s.
They didn't play the full song.
No, they didn't play the full
That wasn't the original.
song. And it was not the original. It's one... And it's
Don't do
called
that.
By Three Dog Night. That's the original song.
Don't sing it, please.
No, I can't sing. But look it up in fact, it's on YouTube.
Yeah, it's been in movies before. It's been in a lot of movies. I can't remember where I've heard it before, but I think it was played in a movie where it was like a breakup sequence. Oh yeah, it was no. Oh yeah, no. It might have been Dinner for Schmucks. They might have played it in that. With Steve Carell and Paul Rudd. But anyways, I don't even know where to begin with this Dark Winds episode. I guess Safi can rant about the very first thing because Safi had a very significant question last week and they immediately answered it kind of. And
yes, they did. Well, they had to. Because if they didn't, that would really be... I would say that would be not an unethical, but it
laziness.
It would be so not disingenuous, but it just would not be good. And that is, Chee goes into the Hogan that has a wall knocked out, and that right away before you go in, that's a problem because the wall's not. It's a certain wall. It faces a certain direction, which I can't remember what it is. That it's always the same direction. It's to get the bad spirit, which is called Chindi, out. And so Jim Chee, they have to. They're looking for what's his name, Albert
Is the
Gorman,
Safi?
and so they know he goes in there, and there's a body because it's wrapped up, but the face is covered, and they know the grandpa lives there, and so they have, well, maybe it's the grandpa, but no, it's Albert.
Safi.
He's dead. Okay,
Safi.
and who did that? Well, they show a flashback to explain it. Grandpa found him. Grandpa knocked out the wall. Now, the thing is, they show this. When he knocks out the wall, he's knocking out a back wall because the bad lady, the professional shooter, who's weird, okay? This is weird. She's weird. She goes to the opposite side and goes in, and she's looking at the guy. He's got something with him, and it's a picture, because she's looking for the person in the picture. She wasn't really looking for him, although she probably would have killed him anyway. Well, she really did kill him, but the grandpa hears her and peeks in the back wall, which he had just knocked out, and she sees him. So she starts chasing him, and she's a shooter, and she kills him from way far away, and then that's it. They don't show anything else.
Safi.
Then, at that time.
Safi.
What?
Is the Chindi in the room with us?
I don't know. Let's see. Let me look at oh my God, it's back. Marco's room is haunted.
Why?
And I don't know. Well, it's not Chindi because you're not dead.
But your mom is. Anyways, guys. Okay, so the rest of the episode, I don't know, like, there's different threads to follow. First off, they questioned the teenage girl. What's her name again?
I don't know.
You don't know her name? They say it in the show.
I know they do. I'm sorry, I don't know it.
This is why I should stop relying on Safi to remember things, because her memory is so far gone. she still lives in the 1800s. But they question her, and she talks about seeing the picture of, like, the cousin.
No, I think it's his
brother. Well, I mean, isn't it her cousin?
Her cousin, yeah.
Well, yeah, so I was right. And seeing Leroy by a tree. And so in the rest of the episode, they go around looking for the tree at these different spots that they had on the map that they got from the gas station. And
they're cottonwood trees.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a place where there's a lot of trees, because there's not. So it's a very specific place, and it's by a wash, I think, where when it rains, the water floods the area, and that's how it gets its watered. Because a lot of the other, it's dry. It's like a desert, kind of. So
they go to one area where they find this guy living there, and he's doing his laundry. And he tries to make the moves on a Manuelito, and she says, "Screw you."
No.
And they find out, and they find out that he saw the assassin around a week ago, and she was looking for a spot, and so she's been there for a week, and that's how they determine that she was not there looking for Albert. She was looking for Leroy. She was looking for someone else's, because she was there before those two others came into town. And part of what I liked about this episode is that, Manuelita, she's not the main character, and to be honest, it would be really, really bad to make her the main character after she ran away and joined the Border Patrol. Like, she would have to go through... I don't know if anyone has seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer. There's a part in the series where Spike has to go through these trials. He loses all of his vampire powers, and he has to go through these trials to gain them back. That's what she would have to go through for me to let her be the main character of the show. because honestly, I wouldn't like that. And Joe Sleephorn, as I've said before, he is the worst character in the history of TV and movies, the worst main character. He has no energy, and he's so boring and bland and unlikable. But Jim Chee is actually stepping up. He is stepping up as the main character. He's entertaining. He's funny at points. And he actually seems like he's trying to do his job. He's trying to solve a case. He is the best one out of the three by far, which I guess is a good thing because it's an adaptation of a book where he's like the lead character.
He's the lead in the book they refer to, which this really doesn't resemble it at all.
Yeah.
He is the main guy in it. And she's not even around yet.
Well, see, he stands out, at least in this episode, to me.
He did.
He stood out. I also really liked his relationship with Manuelito. They had a little scene that I was worried that they were going to turn into like a drama thing, where they start kissing in this back room, and then a deputy comes in and finds them, and she has to get a stapler. And I was really worried they were going to use that as like, see, this is why we can't be together and also work in the police station together.
They wouldn't do that.
I was really worried they were going to do that because I saw this they did this on The Mentalist. They did that on The Mentalist. It was a little bit more inappropriate in The Mentalist, though, because they were doing it at a crime scene.
Oh my God.
Well, it wasn't a crime scene. It was a motel room of someone who was dead.
Oh God.
Away from there, I think. I can't remember, but they did. It wasn't that bad, but they made that into like a big drama thing, and so I really liked that in this show they just treated it as like a cute and funny little scene, and they have some good chemistry actually in this show.
Yeah, they do.
And but I also like the fact that Jim Chee is figuring things out, and he figures out that Joe Sleephorn is going to retire soon. And it's like, honestly, by the way that Joe acts, he acts like he's barely alive. He acts like a zombie. He acts like he's just about to drift away into the wind. Like, remember that part in Joe Dirt where he's shooting off fireworks or whatever, and the Native American guy is with him, and then the Native American guy just turns into dust and flies away. Like, that's what Joe Sleephorn is like. And so if you couldn't figure out that, like, he's done, he's washed up, then you would be really dumb. And so he figured that out, and then, well, you say some stuff,
well,
Safi. You give some reviewing.
Manuelito decided to tell him, and he was very unhappy.
Yeah.
And she knew it, and we knew it. I mean, what did she expect? And it is true that Joe should have told him first and told him himself. And
Yeah.
she, I think he got, well, then it was brought out, and this was brought out the last season. She left and went to the Border Patrol because she wanted to, quote, move up, which the way it was down there, she'd never move up.
Yeah.
No woman would ever move up because it was a very misogynistic place. And plus they had an illegal operation going on. She was a good cop, and she figured out what they were doing.
See, it's better nowadays because if Manuelito could join ICE, and she could move up a lot.
Okay, well, anyway, so she said, he said, you mean he told you, and that's why you decided to go back? And she said, that's what I've always wanted. And that's why I left last season.
That's her dream.
She said, yeah.
Her dream is to be on top.
And so, that's creepy.
What are you talking? That's what she said, Safi.
I know, but anyway, so he's still mad, and I really don't blame him, because he had said before she revealed all this that they could work on crimes together as a team, which is what they do in the books. So
it's kind of like Better Call Saul, where Jimmy wanted to have the law firm with Kim. He wanted to have the two law firms in the same building, and then she ended up saying, "No, I don't want it." Yeah. But that was worse. That was a different monster. You know, Manuelito is a lot better than Kim from Better Call Saul.
She is. So
it's still similar though, because it's like Jim Chee is being treated like a
dummy,
like the dumb child,
and he's not.
Yeah,
he's very aware, and well, I guess we could say this. He goes to confront Joe, who is getting ready to go on another little 24 to 48 hour sojourn.
A safari.
Into the desert.
A sabbatical.
And, which is strange.
A fever dream.
Never happened.
It's kind of like in King of the Hill, where, you know, you have John Redcorn walking around in the nature, and he's got his shirt open, and like we'll get to that, but yeah, there's a big confrontation scene between Joe and Jim, and to be honest, like Jim Chee is really standing out as the smart one, as the person who is the best character on the show right now, because he did have a right to be angry. Yeah,
he did.
And Manuelito,
it was kind of unprofessional, actually.
Yeah, and the whole thing last week with a secret can't be a secret if there's 3 people in on it. Like, that's stupid. That doesn't make any sense at all. You know, I mean, there have been murders in the past where more than 2 people have committed it, and they keep it a secret. You know, there's all sorts of... There's secret societies, which is literally... I mean, secret is in the title. That's not just 2 people in one of those groups. So, I just don't know what to think, though, because it's like, what is the point? Like,
well, I know, but
the only point is that Joe is an idiot, and he said some really stupid things like,
I wrote it down.
See, Jim, you remind me of me. Even though I've never been reminded of Joe Sleephorn when looking at Jim Chee. You remind me of me.
I see me and you.
And that's why you're not right for the job.
And I'm like, what?
It's like, fuck you.
And Jim Chee is like, what? And I'm like, what?
Safi, that is like Willy Wonka choosing fucking Violet or Augustus over Charlie because he sees himself in Charlie. I mean, that makes no sense at all.
So,
what do you think?
Because Chee said, you know, I have stood up for you and I've helped you. I've done everything for you to show you that I'm loyal and I can do the job. And I know that what you did to that guy last season, well, you know, of course he didn't say it like that, but he knows he left him in the desert and went off and he died.
Well, he also said, you know, when we drive around, I've been making jokes for you to make you laugh, to make you smile, because I can see that the job is taking a toll on you, Joe. I've been making you laugh. And Joe is like, fuck you.
And he said something about his wife.
Yeah, he said, you know, you're a liar. You lied to your wife, and that's why she's gone. And he's like, no, don't you say anything. But he's so low energy that he was just like, no. And he's just pointing with his little index finger. He's like, no.
So Jim Chee leaves. So they're all 3, because he and Manuelito, they got in a little fight. And then when Chee went to confront Joe, then they had their little fight. So they're all three at discord with each other.
That's why it's called What's Been Broken Apart or whatever.
Which is weird. I mean, it never happened, and it was weird.
Yeah, so Safi, what do you have to say? Because you said, as you just said, this type of thing never happened in the books, and you said before we did the review, you felt like it was forced drama.
Yeah, I just don't know the purpose of it.
Yeah.
Except to inject some drama. But the thing is, these are all murder mysteries. It's really basically, I think every book was a murder. And they could just focus on the case.
Yeah, I know.
And, I mean, they can do a lot with it. And I don't understand why they just don't, why we have to have this soap opera crap. Because it didn't happen like that.
Yeah.
I told Marco that in the beginnings, Jim Chee, as well as Manuelito, and you saw that with her too down at the border patrol, not control.
Border control.
I should say the control, the way it's been. But anyway, they're inexperienced. They have to gain experience. And, Jim Chee was in the FBI for 2 seconds. But this is the reservations, completely different. Different things, different ways to do things. Plus you have to be considerate of the culture. And, they're not in real life, but, they're all supposed to be Navajo. And technically none of those three are. Anyway, so anyway, he would get mad a little bit because, I told Marco this, Jim Chee would jump ahead and he would be, because he was like impulsive. Something happened, go, okay, I'm going to do this, or reactionary or something, because he was inexperienced. And, he'd have to calm him down and say, don't do that anymore, because it could cause a problem, or it may have caused a little problem, and he had to fix it. So, I mean, but that's just because he was green, he was new, and he had to learn the job. He had to learn about being where he was, and that it was different. And so, anyway, but they didn't have anything like this. It's really queer. But I think it's just something they injected into it to add some kind of stupid soap opera drama.
Well, and I wanted to say the big issue too is where is it going to go? Because last season you had all that unpleasant drama with the FBI agent, grilling Joe, practically whipping him every episode, just like completely, hammering him down. And then the only conclusion was that his stupid wife left him, which should have never happened. That was a huge piece of crap choice.
The only way she left him in the original series was that she died.
Yeah, and so...
of a brain tumor.
But that was the only conclusion. Basically, that whole subplot was meaningless. Like, in the grand scheme of things, it was meaningless. And so, you have to think, what is going to be the point of this? Because to me, this is my perspective. Number one, Joe should not retire because he's supposed to be the main character of the show, but he doesn't act like a main character. He acts like a grandpa that's about to fade into the wind. And then number two, his wife should not be in California. And number three, I don't like this business with like the Jim and Manuelito and like who has to take over. It's stupid. It's dumb. Why can't we just have seasons where they're solving cases together and, everything's la-di-da?
And
because,
he said that, too. He said we could just work on, we can be a team.
Yeah, like in the books, apparently.
Yeah.
Jim and Manuelito work together in the book. Why can't we just have that? Why do we have to have this stupid, like, you should have told me! I mean, it's like, who is this for?
And would they do that in the Navajo culture? Would they really have that kind of... I don't know if they would or not. I'm not thinking that they would, but I don't know. That's the thing when you work with another culture, there's so many little nuances that you'll never know unless you're Navajo for sure. Because there's just so many. That's what makes cultures different from other cultures. It's very important.
There is also a very weird thing going on where Jim has been having nosebleeds.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
And then he spit out a tooth. I have no idea what's going on with that. Maybe it's stress.
Well, they show he has this previous wound on his chest.
Oh.
Like a knife slit.
Oh, okay.
Like he was stitched up.
Is it fake?
I don't remember what that is.
Is it a hallucination?
No, I don't think so.
Well, like what? I don't understand.
I know, that's good. I'm
That's
glad he brought
weird.
that up because I didn't write that down. That is significant. What is that? Anybody knows, you can let me know. Or also, I might look it up too because that is a really good question. What is that all about?
Is he the one who's going to get the brain tumor?
No. They're young. They take over.
I don't know. I mean, they make some weird choices on the show, Safi. And I would like to point out, too, by the way, there is another subplot about the teenage girl. And another female character runs away and leaves town.
Yeah,
that happens at the end, though.
Well, she finds out that Leroy has gotten a ticket to go to LA. So he's the only, and I can understand this, he's the only member of her family left other than her. And so she wants to be with him, I guess, see him. I don't know. But she doesn't want to go back to the orphanage. And Manuelito told her when she was young, she knows exactly what she's feeling. She ran away 15 times, something like that. And she even climbed the flagpole and wouldn't come down. And apparently that was some kind of story that was told at the school. And the girl knew about this story and said, "That was you?" So, I mean...
Yeah, there was this kind of weird moment where they're talking together, and then she's like, "I never got to say goodbye to Albert." And so Manuelito...
she's talking about her grandpa.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Manuelito gets up, and she literally dusts herself off, and then she grabs this part of...
Sage. Sage.
It's sage?
Yeah. And she lit
sure?
lit it and then waved it around.
She did a ritual with her. I don't know what that is, but
I thought that was interesting. It's a
that was
cultural
fun.
thing. That was fun. Then they have those sage sticks that you can buy, but they're all wrapped up and they're bound with like some yarn.
So
and you light them and it's kind of like a blessing or chasing away bad spirits. I can't remember. There might be multiple uses for it, but I've seen that. We had one, actually. Sage stick.
So Manuelito, I have multiple. So Manuelito is keeping the girl at her house.
To protect her from the woman. From the bad woman.
And then later on, though, she runs away and we find out that she's going to California to look for Leroy.
Yeah.
Which...
Okay.
Interesting. And
so
then
now we've got one last part of it.
The weird part.
And
the weirdest part.
The bad lady has gone out to Joe's house while he's not there. And she goes through all the stuff.
She got in his underwear drawer. She did a lot of weird things. She got in his refrigerator. She sniffed all his cheeses. She's like, "What's going on in here?"
And she took a photograph of him and Emma out of his stand-up photograph holder.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, she calls him from his house, right?
Yeah.
At the office.
She threatens him.
She says, "I want you to stay out of this case now. And I don't want to hurt you, but I will have to do something if you don't."
Yeah.
And then, while he's on his sojourn, this is when all the weird stuff goes on. No, it's not very big, but it's weird. I don't get it.
He's all by himself, and he's on he's on a one-man Burning Man trip, like a little fever dream where he's got his hair down and his shirt is open, and
he kind of reminds me. Now this is Fargo. This
like,
is the Fargo guy.
No, this is John Redcorn.
Well,
from King of the Hill,
I guess, but he wasn't Joe Leaphorn anymore. He was somebody else who was, like very exotic and interesting and strong. But she must have thought so too, because what'd she do, Marco?
She shows up, and this scene was kind of like a porno.
I don't know what this was.
She just walked. I mean, this is like straight up like it's like this is like totally like a pornographic scene, because you just have this guy with his shirt open in the middle of the desert, and then you have this woman come up to him, and she's like, "Hey," and then she kisses him, and she says something like, "We're two halves that are opposite sides of the coin, and you go on one end and I go to the other." I don't know. She basically acts like he's Batman and she's the Joker or something. Like, I have no idea. But she kisses him. It was a pretty weak kiss as well. And he's just like, what the hell is going on here? Of course, he has little to no reaction because he's Joe Sleephorn. And that was bizarre. She says, "I care about you." And it's just really, really weird. It felt like a scene out of a Neil Breen movie.
I don't know what she's about. She shot that grandpa.
Yeah.
She killed him. He ran away. But she didn't just leave him there. I thought she would have just left him there. She took him and put him in this nearby cave. Yeah. It was right by his place. So maybe he was using it for storage. I don't know. And she put a blanket on him. And when they found the dead bodies, Joe and Jim, they noticed that he was put in there with care. In other words, he wasn't left out, and he was covered, but his body was not facing the right way, which I told you that with the chimney thing and the open doorway, it was got to face in the body, and the hole has to face in a specific direction. And they could see that wasn't the case, but that he'd still been taken care of, his body. It wasn't left outside. And so they were like, why'd she do that?
But I thought she also did something with the shoes.
Oh, I guess she did.
I thought she switched. I thought she switched their shoes or some weird shit like that. Or no. She put clean shoes on.
Maybe
one of them or something.
I think Marco's probably right. I just didn't. It's just bizarre.
But she mentioned that is like, she values what he does.
She values their culture too.
That's really weird. And see, now you can see, Safi, why they replaced the assassin with a girl. Why they made him into a girl. Because if a guy did that, nobody would watch the show. Safi just left town. Safi literally just left town like all the female characters on the show. You can hear... It's so hilarious because Safi... Even if Safi leaves the room, you can still hear her cough. Okay, Safi, go take a time out with your little juice box there. So anyways, that was the end of the episode. I don't know what to think. I thought it was a pretty good episode despite the couple of weird things. I just don't understand what is going to happen and what they're doing. Like, I don't understand the purpose of what's going on. I don't understand the villain. It all just feels like contrived drama.
But there is another bad guy, because he's the one that hired her.
No, I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about her. I said
I
don't understand her.
I don't either.
I don't understand her. That was what I said.
That's the unknown in the whole thing, though. That doesn't make. I mean, it's even worse. Doesn't make any sense, but might explain. some of it.
Yeah, I think the big issue is that just it doesn't feel like they're actually focusing on the mystery. It feels like they're focusing on anything but the mystery. And it's just kind of weird because you'd think that if you're a mystery show that you would focus on the mystery, like, Twin Peaks, Monk, The Mentalist,
Well, I'm still reading
Matlock.
a mystery series. I'm on this.
You're on this
Charlie Parker murder series. By
Charlie Kirk?
Connie Shelton. And so I'm thinking maybe the writers need to read more mysteries so they could focus a little bit more on. I mean, the mysteries are in the book. They showed Jim Leaphorn, and he does what anybody in a regular mystery book would do. He goes and he checks all these little details that maybe other people wouldn't check because they're not as thorough as he is.
Never see that on the show at all.
No, not really.
Never.
He did go to the gas station and ask him another, like a question about that night where the girl came in and bought all that, or took all that stuff, or bought it, or whatever she did for her to fix up her car. And he went to look around. They showed him up on the bluff where she might have been because there was some evidence that she was there. So, I mean, that is what he does in the book. And that is what people do in the mystery series. They check out check out everything because there's lots of little clues that they're not like real bold-faced. They're little minuscule, but they all paint the picture of what happened.
My advice to the writers, because it does seem like the people who make the show listen to some criticism. Now, it would be really funny to hear the writers actually talk about the writing of the show, because it honestly feels... We've been reviewing the show ever since season 1. And it's just a curiosity of like what they actually listen to, and then how do they implement that criticism into their writing if they do. And if they don't, that's why the show isn't very good, or isn't as good as it could be. But my advice would be for them to just read the books, because it kind of just seems like they need to look down at the book instead of looking up at their computer screens and going, what can we do?
And they don't have to neglect the culture either.
Well, what I would do...
That's another thing.
What I would do is you would want to adapt the book, because the big thing about these books is that nobody really talks about them, and they don't have a huge following. And so wouldn't you want to adapt those faithfully so that people could see the actual books and the stories for what they are?
I would
like
think so.
The books that people actually liked, instead of just doing your own thing. But they could do their own thing in the middle of the books, in the middle of adapting the stories. Like, they could have side stories. They could... Like, the whole thing... Let's be honest, Safi. Bernie, our cat, came in.
He's getting into things. I don't know what he's trying to find a place to sit that's interesting.
He knocked at my door, and now he's ripping up coupons. He's making a nest out of coupons, and now he's sniffing my tripod. But as I was saying, they could do their own thing in the midst of faithfully adapting the books. But I think one big thing that I would like to ask Safi is, now looking back, because in season 1, a lot of people made a big deal about how Jim Chee was an FBI undercover agent. Do you think that is as big of a deal, Safi, as you thought it was? Safi?
Well, I don't know.
You paying attention?
Mean. I don't know what you mean.
Well, like, now that they've made all these other terrible changes to the story, like, Joe's life leaving town for no reason at all, what do you think about
But
that choice in season 1. Because I think out of all the weird choices that they've made, all the changes that they've made, Chee at first being an FBI person is not the worst thing they've done.
No, it's not.
Okay, there you go. Admitted it.
No, it's not. No.
They've done way worse.
They've graduated.
Yeah.
To worse things. How about that? I want the show to succeed because there's nothing else like it. And we have a lot of Native American cultures in the country in North America, Canada, and then Mexico and Peru and all these Native American cultures, and there's just not that many things that they feature them in. And this was an outstanding, and it still is, an outstanding book series.
Could have fooled me.
That got a lot of awards and recognition, and so I feel like it's important, but it can't just be about. It's like forcing these agendas. I'm not saying it's here, but forcing these agendas on these other movies we see about diversity, which I don't want people to have a cow about, but I mean just forcing it, like if it's not real, you're making it artificial by forcing it. We had Star Trek for years that had an African American, they had a Russian, an Asian, and it felt, natural. There's no forcing about it. It was just fell into place like, pieces in a puzzle. And so I think it's important to have this series. That's why I want it to be as good as it can be. Well, I don't want that's why these little, I don't know about these little Peyton Place soap opera dramas are really, with 8 episodes, you just can't afford to do stupid stuff. That's why we've said this all the time, every year about something we're watching. About there's not that many episodes, you can't afford to make a mistake, and if you do, you better make up for it in all the other episodes because you just don't have that much time to tell your story.
Yeah, well, that's a good side note, but I would say the most important thing about the show is to faithfully adapt the books, because when I wanted to review the show, I wanted to review it because I thought I would be getting to experience the books. I didn't know that they would just be kind of, making a fan fiction of the books.
Yeah, and I don't understand that. I think that's a good point. And I would think, too, that people who read the books would feel the same way. And it's just like they've changed this, too, where from what they had in the initial episodes, where it's very important to show the distance between places.
They don't show that.
They don't really show that, and I don't know. I don't, and they did it before, but they're not doing it now. And this is important. It's because people live like this in real life. I mean, I remember being there visiting, and here comes a school bus coming to pick up these kids. They have to walk all the way from the middle of the desert all the way to the road to get picked up, and who knows where the school is. Miles and miles and miles away, and you could see it. You can see it's just empty. There's nothing out there.
It's a great setting for stories.
And that's the thing about Tony Hillerman. He's so good at showing this, but also the weather, like the temperature and the climate and the plants, or lack thereof, and they may not have a lot of rain at periods of time, and so they all have rain barrels. They set up to where they collect the rainwater that goes into a rain barrel. That's their water source. I mean, it is and at night, like at dusk, which we've been out on the road there, you see the coyotes running around on the between the places. I mean, all over the place. It's really fascinating. It's just a whole unique area, and the people I think they're unique, and that's what I mean. That's part of the story. That's what makes it really rich and good, and that's why he was so popular, because he was able to show all of that: the mystery, the ethnicity, their beliefs, their ceremonies, their everything, their food, everything, and the environment, and it was just all a complete picture. And so,
well,
anyway.
So I would give this episode a B+. I enjoyed it despite the flaws. And the last thing that I'd like to say about TV shows is that, speaking of 8 episodes, it's really hilarious, because for years I told people, you're going to regret this, of saying that, you wish that shows wouldn't overstay their welcome, with seasons and episodes, because, it's going to get bad. And what do you know? There are tons of people all over Twitter constantly posting these posts that get tons of likes, tons of replies, saying stuff like, the people yearn for seasons with 22 episodes. And it's like, well, you get what you wanted, and then I even saw a couple of idiots in the comments saying, but if there's 22 episodes, they might drag things out. Like, that's the point of a TV show. That is literally the point of a TV show, is to quote-unquote drag things out. That is literally what they were made for. So,
yeah, because if they go too quickly,
that's a movie.
They'll introduce they'll introduce plot lines that never get resolved, or they don't get resolved very well. It's real. You can tell they rushed, and it's just awful. It just makes mistakes. It makes it make mistakes, and it isn't smooth. It should be a smooth way all the way to the end. I mean, you're going to have what's the components of a story? You have the intro, then you have this build up, and then what do you call the thing in the middle? Or it's the what do you call that? It all comes up to a pinnacle, and then it starts going down.
The climax.
Climax, and you come down to the conclusion. It's like the real parts of a story. And when you do this rushing, it's almost like they have an avalanche. And it just messes it up.
Well, to me, it's like, it's really funny, because I think that story structure is kind of dumb, because you should be able to do whatever you want and not have to follow, like, the rules to make a movie or a story. But they do not follow any story structure at all anymore, especially in movies.
Well, I don't know what they're doing with this. They show them in...
Yeah, the trailer was really bizarre, because it's like, okay, they're going to California. All three of them. And suddenly they're not broken apart anymore.
Right.
So how does that happen?
Right.
Just, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the show. But what did you rate the episode yet,
No.
Safi? Rate it.
Okay, well, I'll give it a B+, because they did address what I asked, because the guy is dead, so he didn't kick a hole out in the Hogan by himself when he's dead, and he was unable to do that anyway. He had no strength left. He lost all that blood, which is what I said, that he's losing blood, and he's going to bleed out, and he's going to die from bleeding out, which they talk about this all the time in mystery books. All the time. And so somebody had to kick it out, or he had a axe, and I think it was reinforced with wood, so it was really hard to do what he did, in the grandpa. And he covered his face. He kind of had him all rolled up in a very nice and neat roll. So, and facing this empty wall. And in the direction he's supposed to be facing. I said, who did that? Because they don't show it. I said, did the woman do it? Because I'm like, oh my God. But she doesn't know about that. She doesn't know how to do it, or she doesn't know what that is. And so anyway.
That was a weird last note.
But the thing with the little episode with the kissing, I didn't get that at all. And Mark was right. If it had been a man, they never could have shown any of that.
Yeah, so that's literally the reason why they changed it into a female assassin.
That would have been too weird to have a gay shooter.
Well, it would have also been weird because last season they introduced the plot element that apparently Joe was molested as a child by the whatever.
Oh yeah.
So it would have been like an extension of that. Like, oh, okay, this is symbolic of that.
Boo!
I don't know what our cat is doing. He's being a bad boy.
He wants me to go in the other room. He goes in the other room. He goes on the couch.
Oh.
And he stays on the couch all evening. And goes to bed on there all night.
He's being weird.
He's being weird.
He's acting like Joe.
He's acting like the shooter. So anyway, I thought it was good. It's just some of those little things. I told Marco there was a couple of bizarre things, and I just didn't even know what to say about it because they were a little bit inexplicable. So anyway, that's it.
So please like this video and comment and subscribe. And lastly, if you'd like to support this channel even further, check out our Patreon page where you can find a ton of bonus content and basically all of the spoiler movie reviews, all of the full unedited spoiler reviews, including tomorrow Safi and I are going to do a spoiler review of Scream 7, and that is going to be entirely exclusive to Patreon. My non-spoiler review was so long that, I didn't split anything in half. We're doing a whole exclusive video. So thank you everyone for watching, and that's it. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.